Greetings! In today's video, I am going to showcase a variety of creations that I've made over the past few weeks, and we're just gonna go for it. So, the first one will be this. It's a panther. It is very similar to a creation I made previously. However, I did learn quite a few tricks on how to improve it. So these are the two versions. The one on the right is the old one, and it is slightly taller, slightly chunkier, because it uses redundant helicopter engines to keep it stabilized. Instead, the one on the left is a little bit lighter, a little bit slimmer, which allows for more give, essentially. It makes it easier to program and easier to maintain a stable running animation because it's not lugging around as much weight. The improvement isn't extremely noticeable. It's much more the case that I learned new techniques on how to make this sort of thing, so I was just gonna try them out. The next creation I will showcase is a flying slice of pizza. This is very much a meme, yes. My friend began the quote-unquote organization called the Fast Food Mafia and made a flying Subway sandwich. Another friend made a flying skewer, and a flying carrot was also part of the crew. It's not particularly interesting. It's simply a slice of pizza in a triangular shape that flies. And it has some guns. It doesn't do that well in dogfights. It does better than you'd expect a slice of pizza to do, but that's about it, really. It's made to look very derpy and pretend like it can win any engagement on sheer charisma. The next build is a demon teddy bear with flumpy ears. I have a version of this with programmed tank steering, but just deleting all of the programming and slapping hinges on the wheels seems to work so much better and so much more consistently. The issue with the tank steering is mainly that the grip of the wheels while moving forward and turning simultaneously is extremely inconsistent when switching terrain. If you're only planning to drive it on tarmac, then you can tune it properly so that it always does relatively well on tarmac, but Trailmakers maps aren't made out of tarmac. Therefore, I far prefer the more consistent steering that having hinges affords me, which is sad to a degree because I programmed the entire tank steering thing. And it works, but it's just not good enough. Regardless, demon teddy bear, flumpy ears. That's about it. It just looks at you menacingly. The next build for today is the Destiny's Bounty from Lego Ninjago. Yes, it is a flying boat. I managed to get the head looking quite nice with some piston glitches and angling stuff with hinges. And of course the sail array is on all sorts of angles. Other than that, the internals are pretty simple. There's not enough complexity to do a very fleshed out logic system. It just happens to handle okay, and sometimes it just doesn't control very well, sometimes it has a mind of its own. However, it looks awesome, and that's basically all it has to do. So yeah. Moving forward, this is the next build. It's a big square, basically. It's a big flying square. I was attempting to see how tanky I could make something that still flies very fast. Well, not very fast, but decently fast for something of its size, and would be able to pack a punch, essentially. This is the most combat-oriented build I've made. It's made out of hull blocks, which means that it can take a beating and stay in the sky. It's a full frontal assault vehicle. It has 2 smart cannons facing backwards, but virtually all of its firepower is aimed forwards. The rockets are all the way in the front as to avoid as much as possible hitting itself with its own rockets. Again, the focus was survivability, and the guns are also in the front. There's some aesthetic tricks done with the LED blocks, the light panels, to make it look like it's a little bit less of a big square. But it's just a very big square with many guns and explosives. The next creation I'm going to showcase is this F-16 Viper. This thing has so many hinge glitches, piston glitches, and other assorted things that if I add any more to it, it might just explode. It's a very precarious creation. It sometimes has very much a mind of its own because, well, it has very many forces inside it that are pulling in very different directions all of the time. Aside from that, I did have to stick some thrusters underneath the wings because there wasn't enough space in the body, and I didn't want to mess with the body too much to make more space for thrusters, in fear that it might just stop doing everything. Other than that, it's got a fair bit of firepower. And I put quite a bit of work into making the landing gear look accurate. I put a mad scientist block in the back for Sparky Sparks. And that's also fun. It's just, yeah, it's unfortunate that I had to slap a few thrusters under the wings to get it to go up to speed that I wanted it to. And it's definitely not a dogfighter. It's definitely, it will lose every single dogfight. Because it also has a mind of its own. It sometimes it just wants to do things like that. And then you have to recover it. Yeah. I'm really happy with it. It's very aesthetically pleasing. The paint job I might switch up in the future. I was trying to go for something. I kind of got lost halfway through the paint job, but the rest of it is cool. Yes, let's go with that. Alrighty. The second last build is the Atlas Titan from Planetary Annihilation Titans. That's a very long name for a video game. I don't know why they decided that that would be a good idea. However, they have very cool little models for their Titans, so I went on and made my own version of one. It has this walking animation. Oh, it's supposed to have arms, but it's basically 700 complexity as is, and I don't want to mess with complexity mods. I have this very cool decal trick that I learned literally yesterday, or maybe not literally yesterday, depending on when this gets uploaded. But I saw someone's helicopter and they had the LED panels covered partially with decals to make them thinner or whatever shape you want them to be. And that was extremely awesome to me, and so I'm stealing that idea and putting it on everything. Now, there's a few lights on the top. They're supposed to all be off, but Trailmakers does a goof. Regardless, what those lights do is I press space, the mad scientist block lights up, all of the lights light up and everything explodes, because the Atlas Titan has an earthquake mechanic that it uses to, destroy all of its enemies all of the time. And so I incorporated that with this charge up mechanic thing, where it will blow up everything. The one thing I would like it to do is make circle, or more of a circular shape with all of the explosions, but again, not enough complexity to do all of that. And this brings us to the final creation for this video. This is a gunship. It's not got a name yet, but it will soon, probably. While it's on the ground, I'll showcase that its cockpit can open up, like that. It also has the neat trick with the decal on the light panel to make it look like an eye. I did a whole lot of decaling on the cockpit, on the sides, and on the top, so that it wouldn't be just an entirely black hull. And I programmed it so that if I'm hopped out of the seat, it doesn't attempt to flip itself over or fly away. Then you hop back into the seat, the landing gear folds up very neatly, the front one especially, all goes away. The gunner has access to control of the chin-mounted double-barreled minigun, which they can aim and use at leisure. There's 4 forward-facing smart cannons and as many forward-facing rockets. And if you aim the miniguns at the front as well, that just adds to the carnage. It can basically hover very steadily in any orientation without, falling out of the sky. And then you activate its engines and it just moves. I did interesting things with the steering to make it feel more like it handles naturally, rather than feeling like it's on rails. It's still on rails because I'm not very good of a pilot, and so I trust my programming far more than I trust my skill. Other than that, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm very happy with this. And it just hovers menacingly. If you have an interesting name for it, you can let me know. I will consider my options carefully. And yeah, that's about it. And there you go. This has been a showcase of assorted creations that I've made during the past while. I don't really make things on theme. I just build as ideas come to me, and it varies within anything from walkers to planes to spaceships to the demon teddy bears with tank threads. So I can't really make videos with a theme like I did for the first few. Or I could, it would just take me a very long time. Therefore, I've opted for a more variety approach. Hopefully, you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the future.